Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, healer, tarot extraordinaire, and your local witch next door. And today I'll be talking about the Page of Pentacles. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. If you love the show, the best way to support it is by listening daily, leaving a review, and subscribing or following in your favorite podcast app. For monthly hangouts, tarot Q&As, readings, and more, join the Everyday Tarot Patreon family. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, join me for my next Let's Talk Tarot event on Monday, May 12th from 4:45 to 7 p.m. at the Sumner Library. We're going to be having a potluck and crafting our own tarot cards. I'll bring all the craft supplies and we'll talk tarot and craft together. If you'd like to be the first to hear about upcoming events, presentations, and more, you can sign up for my weekly newsletter. You'll also get my free PDF with the 2025 5-card tarot spread I created just for you at the beginning of this year when you sign up. If you don't already know, I'm a sex and relationships therapist seeing clients virtually all over Washington State. I love working with queer, poly, and witchy clients who might be struggling with anxiety, chronic pain or illness, communication issues, self-advocacy, and sex. If you would like to work with me, book a free 20-minute consultation now to see if we're a good fit to work together. You can find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or on my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot, in addition to the images of the cards I pull. All right, we are in season 7 right now. I'm talking all about the Suit of Pentacles, going through each card one per episode. If you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you should check those out. Season 1 was all about tarot basics. Seasons 2 and 3 were about the major arcana and an overview of the 4 suits. In season 4, I talked tarot and pop culture. In season 5, I talked about 13 common tarot spreads. And in season 6, I talked about the Suit of Wands. So like I said, we're in season 7 where I'm talking about the Suit of Pentacles. If you want to hear an episode dedicated to an overview of the Suit of Pentacles, you can check out season 3, episode 13. And today we're talking about the Page of Pentacles. So the page is one of the, court cards. So it goes page, knight, queen, king. So we're on the first one right now. So images or symbols associated with this card are manifestation, effort, hard work, inner growth, progress, youth, and steadiness. So I'm looking at 3 different decks I have with the Page of Pentacles in them. So in the Therapist Who Tarot deck, the Pentacles, these are prompts by Drea Bloom and images by Rebecca Bloom. The Pentacles are actually depicted as spirals, which is kind of the oldest depiction of Pentacles as something that occurs in nature, like spirals, right, to go along with that earth energy of the Pentacle suit. And this one is actually renamed to the Daughter of Spirals, and it says it's all about new enterprises. And there's sort of like a human figure. There's like a lot of different colors. So there's sort of these yellow with lines horizontally that it looks like the person is kind of standing on. And then we see these spirals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 8 of them kind of going in this like ascending order from the ground up above the person. And they're like a pinky, purple, dark color. And then this is done in watercolor. So there's sort of like an overall smudging of the colors. So they sort of like wrap into each other. So there's yellows and pinks and purples and blue on there. And then on the back, these cards don't have a tarot deck guidebook that goes with them, but they have prompts on the back of them for reflection questions. So it says, when do you feel most attractive? How has your relationship with your body changed over the years? And what is your relationship with shame? So that is how the Page of Pentacles is depicted in this deck. In the Anima Mundi Tarot deck by Megan Weiwer-Wenden, this Page of Pentacles is a very pretty dark woodland scene. So there's like a stump with mushrooms growing out of it, a tree stump. There's a squirrel on top of it that sort of looks like they're cracking open a nut. And then we sort of see this backdrop of, like I said, woods. So we see trees that are really dark, and we see some green like evergreen branches. There's like grass and some flowers. Looks like some poppies or tulips or some wildflowers growing around. And then the squirrel is sort of in the middle, working on that nut, hardworking there, right? Working literal hard work and the inner growth of the nut that's depicted there. And then there's a pentacle at the top of the card. And then in the Goddess of Love tarot deck by Gabriella Herstick and illustrated by Julia Popescu, we see like what looks like a woman in like a blue corset. And hilariously, she has like a little like cupid like tucked into the top of like by her bust, like at the corset. Her hands are like above her head, like she kind of looks like she's basking in something. There's all these beautiful like flower petals around her. We see a mirror, so sort of that like reflection or inner work. We see like some trumpet flowers, I believe. Again, the pentacles in this deck are, there's always lots of emeralds in the background. So there's green, and there's also literal like gemstone emeralds. And then there's a very large like pentacle that's depicted as a heptagram in this deck. That's sort of like behind the woman, almost like a halo or like she's on a throne there. So it's a very like abundance, I don't know, opulence kind of card. Maybe like, again, that hard work. There's sort of a lot going on here, but she's kind of like sitting back. Like she looks like I'm chilling, right? So I'm kind of curious what these decks say about the depiction for these cards. So for the page, and oh yeah, in the Goddess of Love tarot deck, a lot of the traditionally like masculine named characters or archetypes are changed to feminine ones. So she is the Maiden of Pentacles. And it says the elemental correspondence is Earth of Earth. The Maiden of Pentacles expresses the fecundity and fertility, the earth and body magic of the goddess more so than any other court card. She's begun her voyage to and through the body and represents the element of earth in its most stable state. You're being seduced into her garden, which is alive with the potential of sensuality, embodiment, and rebirth. The Maiden of Pentacles can also show up as a teacher, lover, mentor through the mysteries of the body, someone who is inviting you to look at yourself with tenderness and care. So there is this sort of connection to, again, like sensuality or the body, in this way that earth signs are often very like embodied, or again, if we think about grounding, and like the earth and, like earth energy of like we're in Taurus season right now as I'm recording this. So all of those things are sort of like, oh, but material, like, so pentacles can be associated with sort of like the material world. Sometimes we can think that means just like material goods, but it also means like the physical realm, like anything that we're physically interacting with. And that also includes like our own bodies. I'm curious in the Anima Mundi deck what they talk about here. And the page, an Eastern Gray Squirrel. Page of Pentacles indicates you have big dreams and a strong, enthusiastic desire to make them come true. Perhaps you're starting a new project or a job. To achieve your goals, approach your task pragmatically and keep your feet on the ground. So there's sort of this like dreaming, enthusiasm, opportunities, new goals, and learning. So there's also a lot of learning going on during this time. In the Library of Esoterica tarot book by Taschen, they talk about that this card is all about manifestation and practicality. The Page of Pentacles encourages practiced and focused effort and represents diligent work rewarded by progress and inner growth. All right, so in the Tarot and Astrology book by Corinne Kenner, she speaks of the Page of Pentacles as the personification of Earth. The sturdy Page of Pentacles is the personification of Earth. She embodies the steady, dependable energy of all three Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, and her grounded energy connects the Suit of Pentacles to the world of matter and physical existence. Like all pages, the Page of Pentacles is young, but this page exemplifies the very nature of Earth itself. She's heavy and low to the ground. She's solid, stable, and secure. She's steady and resolved, forthright and self-assured. She's patient and persevering, and she's determined to achieve a solid foundation for her understanding of the physical world. She moves slowly, but she moves with undeniable sureness and force. Despite her high level of skill, she's still extremely careful, even cautious. She doesn't take very many risks. She's consistent and conscientious, diligent and deliberative. She's also a nurturing figure, like a young earth mother. At the moment, she's untouched, like the untilled soil, but eventually she'll serve as a vessel for physical creation. She holds the Ace of Pentacles for safekeeping, so often there is like a pentacle or like a shield sort of being held by the person, the Page of Pentacles in this card. And it says she holds that for safekeeping, like Ceres, the goddess of Earth's bounty. It's her destiny to safeguard and protect the physical world. In the Fearless Tarot book by Elia Adam, they talk about the Page of Pentacles is all about that passion for learning. So when you like find something that you're really interested in, this could be a goal, a talent, a creative pursuit, or a career. To get better at anything, you must work at it. When your interests become work, it can be easy to forget why you used to love them. The job to do can soon take the place of the passion. The process of getting better at anything is strewn with mistakes, and errors are your best teachers. So, thinking about why did you choose to go into the work that you do? What stoked your enthusiasm when you were just getting started? Has perfecting your talents become something that gives you more anxiety than joy? How has an area of study enriched your life? The page holds up his pentacle with reverence. It's a symbol of his passion for learning, perfecting, and understanding. They talk about sort of the typical depiction of the card. So it often shows like the person's in a valley under the shade of trees and mountains. They're in this beginning stage, like even that the landscape behind them is in this sort of transition, or it's not yet a forest. Which is kind of interesting because in the Anima Mundi deck with the squirrel, like I would say that also is like a forest in transition, but we see it more in the fact that like the stump, right? A tree has fallen down and now the squirrel's kind of sitting on it, taking advantage of this transitional state of the forest. Squirrels off, I don't know why exactly, but they like to sit. I have some stumps in my yard and we have a walnut tree, and so I get a lot of squirrel visitors, especially in the fall when the walnuts are getting ripe. And so the squirrels will always come and sit on stumps and sort of like take apart the nut on the stump. I don't know if they just feel safer or something, a little bit higher off the ground. But yeah, it's interesting to me that that's how this card is depicted. This card's all about that you're not just a dreamer, but a doer, right? Again, we're all about the physical realm. And they're talking about in this book that sometimes when we're creating or dreaming or things, sometimes we can get caught up in the anxiety of doing it well or being perfect, which can cause avoidance of the things that used to bring us joy. So we have to remember what ideas sort of imbue us with a sense of passion and excitement. And card's all about honing your skills and ideas. It's funny, something's actually coming to mind as I'm thinking about this for myself. I like to do, if you hear in my, intro to the podcast, I like to do tarot meetup events. And one of the things I like to do, sometimes we just socialize or read tarot for each other, talk about tarot. But another thing I like to do is crafting our own tarot cards. And I had someone ask me recently, like, oh, do you do them like virtual ever? I have led one virtually before for my online coven, the Dirty Hill Coven, that I did about a month ago at this point. And so I'm thinking about doing that again. So if you're someone that does not live in my local area that still wants to learn how to craft your own tarot cards, I just have very basic supplies. I'll give you a list of everything that you might want or need. And I personally like to do kind of collage style tarot card creation. So I'm working on picking a date for that, and I'll give out the information in upcoming podcast episodes. And I'll have like a page where you can sign up to get the link for the video, and we'll all meet virtually and create some tarot cards together. And I've been kind of like overthinking, like, oh, what do I need to put together before I send out the date and la la la. And I feel like this card is calling me out and saying, like, just do it. It's fine. Like, put out the date, right? I can tell you all that, in sometime in June of 2025, I'll have a virtual tarot card creation event where I'll lead you through the process. I'll show you some of the cards I've created. I'll give you a list of supplies that I think are helpful. You'll get those on your side, and then we'll just do some tarot crafting focused time. Yeah, so with that, I think I'm going to transition into diving in and seeing what the cards have to say today on this topic. Let's see what they have to say about this overthinking kind of aspect of the card that sometimes we can fall into if we're not careful. I'm going to be pulling from the Citadel, a fantasy oracle by Fen Inkwright. It's my newest deck, and I'm still really enjoying getting to know it. And one of the ways I do that is through the podcast, where I've been pulling cards for I think the last, maybe 5 to 7 episodes with this deck. It is not a tarot deck, it is an oracle deck, but it still has some structure to it. Very beautiful cards. So as I'm shuffling here, I'm going to be thinking about, how can we transition from that place of overthinking into creation, into moving forward on our dreams, setting the date, right, and then figuring everything else out as we get closer, right? Some people call this like building the parachute on the way down, which I wouldn't recommend doing in real life in that sense, but sort of that you're going to, state your dreams out there, put it out there, get people excited and interested, and kind of have a commitment to yourself as well as other people, and then you'll figure out the details on the way. And so I'm going to be thinking about that as I pull a card here. Okay, so today I pulled the Scholar in reverse. It says investigation and research. And I have a sense that this card is going to tell me that I'm doing too much investigation and research and I need to stop and just do it instead of trying to prepare for it for too long. But let's take a look. All right. So upright, the Scholar is part of let's see, there's sort of like suits in this deck. So this is part of the academy. So the Citadel is sort of this imagining of like a city that all these people live in. And there's a court. And surrounding the court is a ring of libraries, temples, schools, and businesses that are collectively known as the academy. The buildings here are large, practical constructions separated by spacious roads and flourishing shops. Carefully pruned courtyards proudly display statues of some of the city's most notable figures. The people who live and work here flourish in acts of learning and ingenuity, striving to discover the unknown and create new wonders that will amaze the world. Cards in this suit represent personal growth, aspirations, and development. But with genius also comes madness. All right, there's a little bit more explanation there, but let's get into this particular card. So the Scholar, upright. It says, the Scholar is a card of routine and perseverance. Right now, you may find yourself at a dead end with no immediately apparent solution. Take a step back and try approaching the problem from a different angle. And then in reverse, which is how I pulled this card, it says, the reason why it seems as if there's no good solution to your current situation is that right now, there's no solution to be found at all. Frustrating though it may be to realize that there are no rewards to be gained for the work that you've put in, take this chance to reevaluate what you're doing and focus your energy elsewhere. And as I read that, I'm pretty sure I pulled this exact card in a recent episode. I'm going to look back and see if I can figure out which one it was. I pulled it when we were doing the 8 of Pentacles episode. So like only 3 episodes ago. So I guess this message is still relevant and still in reverse. That whatever you've been trying to maybe push forward with doing, maybe there's no solution, and that when you've just been sort of sitting in that uncertainty, that's kind of why we're still there, and take a chance to reevaluate what you're doing and focus your energy elsewhere. So a pivot sounds like it might be necessary. All right, well, links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them or purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.